And I'm gonna try to go live. And then we're good to go. And, since we have enough people now. Awesome. Cool. I'm gonna start in 2 minutes. And
You can introduce.
I know Charles calling from New Jersey. Gavin is from San Francisco. What about you, Lynn?
Philadelphia chị ơi.
Philadelphia still. Oh,
I'm
cool.
back here. Yes.
Yeah. And Thảo, you in Seattle
From
now?
Seattle. Yes.
Yeah, Seattle. And Thanh?
Dạ, em từ Florida.
Florida. That's
Yeah.
awesome. What about Trúc Lan?
From Oklahoma.
Oh,
really?
Oklahoma. You should go show your face. Maybe you know these guys. They are in
Did I
Oklahoma.
meet you before, Lang?
Yeah, I tried to request a friend with son, but he been neglect me, you know.
No.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's okay. At least I try. So.
So
Oh,
sorry.
he's too
I don't-
famous now.
I check my friend request often.
Hi, Jolene. Where are you calling from? Oh, maybe she or he doesn't hear me. Hi, anh Cường.
Hello guys. Hello Sophie. Hello Nick. Hey everybody.
Hello. If you can see, show your face, would be great.
Yes.
But the monkey is pretty entertaining.
Hello guys.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start. Again, hi. My name is Sophie Nguyen. I'm the host of this Monday Real Estate Talk. And real estate is one of the most lucrative and complex industry in the world, right? But I've been doing this full time for the past 4 years. So I have the privilege of knowing many investors. All of them are like expert in different niches. And you know, the rich is in the niches. So I'm bringing like my friends, like all of these friends of mine, to help educate myself and also help educate like people in my network about real estate investing, because it's such a good thing and not a lot of people know about it. And you can also find out about me and this series on my website, sophie.so. So let's start it to ask questions to Sun and Nick. And thank you for accepting me my request to join this webinar. In a rush, I know you guys are very busy. Can you introduce a little bit about your background, Sun and Nick?
Yeah, so this is just a short preparation for this talk. So we want to make sure this is just for friend talk. I started real estate in 2019, September 2019. So incidentally, today is also September and mark the 4 years of our real estate journey. So I moved to the US in 2018, and at that time I didn't know what to do. We were like to figure out what to do. So I moved to New York first, and I moved to California, and then moved back and forth between the two states, and still don't know what to do. I even applied for jobs and even look at my CV, and I was rejected or something like that. So there was no passport or an immigration like me, and which is the US, and even Uber for the next for 3 days. And during the 3 days, I learned a lot about pickpocket. So I listened to a lot of pickpockets podcasts, and I feel like, oh, real estate is something interesting. Me is the one to tell me, yeah, we should do real estate. So we asked me to join her membership with Nick Tran in city, and we both chip in 2,500 each to pay for a 5,000 course, $5,000 course to Nick, and then he teaches us about basic knowledge of real estate, which is really good. We just learned about the backbone of real estate, which is the formula of rent equal to net income equal to rent minus all the expenses you have to do, and that's a very basic formula that we learn. And onto the day-to-day business, we analyze all the deals, backbone of our business. So thanks for that.
So son, let me remind you a little bit. Because okay, so I go to this real estate event, and then I know Nick Tran is very experienced, so he has a mentorship program for $5,000. So I asked son and a partner in my restaurant, which is Phu Hoa, to join together with me, so I can share that mentorship. Instead of paying $5,000, I divide into 3 parties. So like 3 of us back then at the same level, right? But me and son, we use that knowledge and we act on it. Phu Hoa didn't, so he doesn't invest in real estate. But looking back, it was one of the really good decisions that we did, even we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah. So like I said, that's a very basic knowledge that until day-to-day operation, we still apply that knowledge that we learned from Nick Tran in New York, and thanks for that. So then I met my high school friend again in Oklahoma City, and Tao is the one who introduced us the whole system in Oklahoma City, like the banker, the contractor, and everyone here. So we really appreciate that. And I took my first action from the knowledge that I learned from New York City, and I bought this house in 2019. And since then, we use different methods and leverage and all that. And every year we keep doubling, and until today is the 4th year of the journey. So I really feel cool. And the journey is not as you can see at the end, but on the journey there's so many up and down. So you can feel free to ask any questions or anything we can share to help you your journey. That will be helpful for us.
So I have a question, like, did you when you started, did you imagine you're gonna own this many doors in 4 years? Did you set a goal?
So at that time, we did not set any goal, because my intention at that time is to get out of the ball. I don't have anything to do. I have nothing yet started, and I want to start something. And I keep doing it. I keep doing it from the first deal, the first house I bought, and I still feel very surreal. Like, did I just own a home in the US? And did I just got a tenant? Did I just recruit someone into staying at that house? And I just accept an application. All very surreal. And I keep going on and on to the next house, and finance the next house. It's just make me be an addict to it. And we just keep doing it. I have a goal until 1 year passed. I look back, we bought 13 houses in the first year. And I realized, okay, so that's easy. So we can do 26 in the second year. And that's how we keep growing.
So a little bit before real estate, what did you do? A little bit back, and then when why did you move to the US and don't work at where you were working anymore?
So I was working in the airlines industry. I was a marketing manager for Qatar Airways. So we've been working there. I've been working there for 10 years. And during the 10 years period, I traveled to the US for the first time. That was in 2014. That was New York City. And I met my high school friend, me. Yeah. And you should move here. You should invest in the restaurant business here. And I said, no, I have a good job. I don't want to quit my job and invest in something, because like some company that $10,000 a month with free tax. In the Middle East, there's no tax. Income tax is zero, and you have your free accommodation and free flight to free destinations. So I flew every week to a new destination. So that's a life, I believe, and I want to quit that. So I said, okay, let me think about it. And back to 2016. So from 2000, I visited and 16, I was keep thinking about a proposal that we should move to the US, and I quit Qatar Airways. But at the time, I have a passion for restaurant too. Like me, she also does restaurant, and let's do it in Dubai. So I moved to Dubai and opened a new restaurant in Dubai. That was 2016. So that business didn't well, because I think the biggest lesson from that is I didn't have any mentorship. I didn't have anyone who guided me through that path, and I did because I want to prove I could do it, but it failed because I was not good in that business, and eventually I had to sell that business and get back whatever capital I got in and move back to Vietnam with my mom for about 6 months. And now I remember at that time, I did stock too in Vietnam. We make some good money with and real estate in Vietnam. So me came back during that time when I was in Vietnam, and she had some money and she asked me, what should I invest in stock? And I said, okay, buy stock. I'm gonna guarantee you're gonna make profit. And if you make profit, I'm gonna pay for the loss. That's what I guarantee her.
Yeah, you basically like starting a hedge fund at a time.
By myself.
By yourself, and I'm the only investor in that hedge fund.
Yeah. So we make some good money from real estate income, and I remember that proposal, and I said, okay, let's go and move back to the US and start our journey there. So that's how I in New York with the help of my friend me.
By the way, me is me.
Sophie.
Yeah, just we don't know. So Nick, what about you? What's your background and how your journey started?
Well, my journey started in real estate 4 years ago, and just been along for the journey, learning and enjoying, having fun. So it's been exciting. Like you said, a lot of ups and downs throughout the real estate journey, but that's the nature of business. You have to go through. You have to be dedicated, and you have to be diligent. And then before the real estate journey, I was a student for years. Well, for pretty much the rest of my life. I had small W-2, not W-2, full W-2 jobs, contracting jobs here and there for restaurants and all of that. So I've worked in service and those kind of things. And then I was a student primarily until I met some.
So Nick has been helping me a lot. He learned really fast from being a PhD student in astronomy. He learned a lot quickly. Within 6 months, he learned all slogan, jargon, or whatever term in real estate, and he applied all that knowledge into our business, and that helped us push the growth further.
Nick, would you say real estate is easier than whatever your PhD in?
It's different. It's not. I think it can be easier. It depends on how you look at it. If you can say it's much more difficult because I work more now than I do before, but it's easier in the sense that it's not work. It's our life. We in the morning, we start the day, we do work, but it's our life. We just incorporate it into everything that we do, and we live and breathe really. Like, if we're not talking about real estate with you guys, we're talking about real estate with each other. We dream about houses, we dream about real estate. That's all we do.
And during the weekend, we don't know what to do, so we drive around the neighborhood and check houses.
We just analyze houses. We send out offers. That's all we do every day. So on one hand, it's more work because it's
24 hours.
24 hours
unless we sleep.
But even in our sleep about it. But on the other hand, it's life. So it doesn't stress us out as much anymore. So
you're saying that real estate is a lifestyle?
For us, we make it a lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, and rocket science, which your PhD in rocket science is not. not a
Yeah,
lifestyle.
that was the job. Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. So what market are you in? And tell us a little bit about your portfolio.
We're in the metropolitan area of Oklahoma City, so we primarily focus in the kind of core districts of Oklahoma City, where it has the most potential for growth in our eyes. It gets a lot more funding in the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars from the city. We like to focus in those areas. It's almost guaranteed to grow because the government itself is just pumping so much into it, has to grow. So that's the kind of market we focus in our portfolio. We try to diversify, so we across the whole city. It's in the main core, but we also have on the outskirts with everything from single family homes up to an apartment complex, and we do short-term rental, transition homes, long-term rental. So we try to very diversified both in location and in asset class and asset type.
That's awesome. So how many doors total now? I lost count.
Let me open the Excel spreadsheet because we don't keep track of number of doors anymore. We keep buying and eventually it's there. So it's probably
Anyone who wants to have this problem, don't know how many doors that you have, like
So we
130.
wants to have this problem.
So we're at 133 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
133. Oh my God. Okay. I think a few months ago you
My
just passed
nephew,
100 or something.
what did I say? Numbers?
Awesome. The biggest complex you have, like how many doors is that complex? I forgot.
The complex is 14 doors, 14, but we're looking into actually expanding it and making it into 6. We're going to convert. There's one building which has 2 units above and it has 5 garages at the bottom. And we're going to rent the 5 garages to create 2 more units. Currently the garages rent out for 100 each, but we're going to renovate both units and then charge. Now the going rent 800. But by the time that work is done, maybe it's 850, 900.
Awesome. So we have some question from the audience. She asked, how are you not having constant headache from managing 133 units?
Yeah, so out of 3 units, we're so proud that we manage by ourselves. So long-term, short-term to the Airbnb, except for the transition home. We have transition home, which is about 15 doors, and we let the property manager manage it. So we manage the property manager, but the rest of the units we are managing ourselves. We're not having any because every point of time when we buy a new properties, we're trying to fix every structure problems to the component. So we fix everything and we put in a tenant, so you don't have to do the problem again. So when we have a maintenance call, it's only a minor fix, changing filter, charge the freon,
Like maybe snaking if they
taking the plumb. That's very minor. And we have the good team around us. So whenever we have a maintenance call, the main problem is maintenance call when you manage properties on the long-term basis. And if you have all these handyman contacts and the good team around you, you just send the work order to them. You're not doing the work itself, but you're doing the work of managing your processes and the people around you.
And you get a system in place. So if you are having to do everything and manually, you're collecting cash, you're collecting checks, you're collecting money orders, you're collecting all these things, doing everything manually, it becomes a big headache because now you're trying to pull in all these sources. But we to the point now where we cut out all of the paperwork. We don't do paperwork leases. We don't collect cash. We don't do that. Everything is digital, and it makes everything very seamless. So now when the end of the month comes around, everyone pays, it automatically all goes to the bank account, and all we have to do, and now we even have the bank account linked where all of it now goes into the rent roll. And then all we do is, okay, who's behind? Okay, this person's behind. And then we can start whatever process is in place for whether we reach out, we call them, or are they always, what's going on there. But everything's now getting more streamlined.
Yeah. So Tran asked, can you share about the tips how to document and manage finance, furniture repair, maintenance, receipt, Airbnb payout, rents, file tax at the end of the year?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
We just spent like 2 months getting this question sorted ourselves.
So in the first 3 years, we don't have a system, so we did everything on Excel. I think which is very good
Yeah.
for those who has not many units. I think
like
Excel
under,
is free, and you can do that, and you can sort it out and do everything by
I think
yourself.
under 50, Excel is, don't look anywhere else. Excel is there. Excel is perfect. If you have under 50, it's very easy to manage everything. But once you start more, it's complicated.
Yeah, so we turn to Stessa, which is the software that recommended by Pockets, and you can take the receipt, copy of receipt, and send to the system, and it's all documented in your system.
That's awesome. Stessa, guys, Stessa.
Yes,
Stessa.
It's assets back. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would help a lot of the work, right? And
Yeah.
do you also manage repair maintenance through Stessa, or it's just for your finance?
So we primarily use the finance part, seats, but you can also use it. They don't do maintenance repair requests like
a
Appfolio.
folio.
Appfolio will do the repair request. That's, I think, for a more technology savvy team. If you have your team, our team, we just send out the work orders manually. We put in all of the, okay, you have a work order, you did, let's say, making plumbing. So we paid the contractor $100 or $50 or whatever to snake the plumbing for this house on Stessa. So then when we look on and sort for that house, we see this
What
work order.
section has been made financially, and you can see what order has been sent to the contractor, and you can see what kind of maintenance issues in the past history with this house too. So we manage in the way that it's more efficient for our team, because if you use a folio, the work order sent to the owner and then go to the property manager and then go to the person, but they don't read the text. They don't read the work order in the format. So we feel like texting people, especially people who doesn't have the technology skills, it makes them easier, and they can more than texting them just a work order and they print out a whole page, what kind of issues and all that. Yeah,
that's awesome. So what's your day-to-day look like?
So our day-to-day is kind of interesting. We only plan a couple things throughout the day, so we might plan, all the meetings in the evening and all of the we call them like heavy thinker things, but we only try to plan a couple things, and then all of a sudden our day full of things. So stuff just pops up and we just do it. We I don't know. Usually, we look forward and it's, there's nothing to do, and then you look back and don't have enough time. So
normally we keep all the big items on our calendar. So we have a calendar that's shared between us, and we keep the big items. For the gap between the big items, I'll feel by the day itself.
Yeah. So a day-to-day, let's say, for example, today we would go, okay, we wake up in the morning, we check Airbnb, make sure that there's no, emergency issues that happen during the night, because we turn off our, so no one just in the night. That, we need sleep, everyone needs sleep, so we make sure that doesn't get disturbed. So we wake up, we check the messages, make sure everything is, nothing's full. And then we can kind of start the day. We check, do we need to schedule any meetings? Do we need to do any closings? Do we need to, go check any of the current orders or any of the work projects that are going on? So we have several rehabs that are undergoing, so we can manage the teams and make sure everything is going according to plan. And then usually like the gym either in the morning or the night. So we fit it in either right when we wake up or around 6 o'clock, somewhere around there. So we always try to fit that in the day as well. Health is important, so you get exercise. So we focus on those two things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. You have time to go to the gym and you
Mhm.
can do the big thing first and it's a small thing later, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Kind of like
all the
free
stuff.
flow day.
Yeah, very free flow.
Yeah. So both of you don't have any other jobs. Like, oh, this is all you do.
This is life, no
Yeah.
job.
No job.
So Dahe asked, having done so many different exit strategy, would you want to focus on one if you can go back, or would you have done the same?
That's a very good question. That was we were discussing a couple hours about talk about and the kind of big takeaways. And this is a good point to bring, which I think the new investors don't give it that much importance that's needed, but for every deal you go into, you need to have exit strategies. At least 2 exit strategies. If you go into a deal, you analyze a deal and you say, I can only flip this deal. It has to make $25,000, otherwise it won't work, or something on those matters along those lines. You're going to get stuck, because what if, like recently, we see interest rates go up, buyers get scared, those kind of things, or even last year, lumber prices just shot up, and now all of a sudden you're losing 5,000, 10,000 extra in all these additional costs. Now you're stuck. And then what do? You fire, you sell at a loss, or you just hold it. What do you do? So you need to have multiple exit strategies, at least 2. So we've done, flips, short-term, long-term, medium-term. So whenever we enter into a property, when we're analyzing the property, we already have in mind several exit strategies that will work. So right now, we don't buy anything for flip. We buy things to hold, and we make money, with the intention to make money, of course, from doing that. So we try to always analyze everything on a term basis. And if it doesn't work as a long-term, then it has to be a kind of very unique property for us to buy it. Otherwise, you're taking on a little bit more risk because it doesn't work as a long-term. So for example, in our neighborhood, which is kind of arts district area, there's a property we really, really like, but let's say it doesn't make the 1% rule for a long-term. We might still buy it if it's just a unique house and a good location that we like. We could also Airbnb the house. Later on, the rents might catch up close to the 1%, which is not quite there. Or maybe later we could also flip it, or maybe because we're at the point where we are, we don't mind even just holding the house because it's just such a unique and special property to get. So I think it's very important to keep in mind all the different exit strategies when you analyze the deal.
Yes, I think never do any deals with just one exit strategy and stick to it.
And your exit strategy may change. If we've had to flip things or like change our exit strategy because the other ones didn't work anymore. So you got to be flexible. Yeah.
Right. So with the current market shift, like it's shifting from last year to this year, what did you guys see? So was it because I know at one point you guys have like 10 flips going on at the same time, right? And you buy foreclosure, but you buy like a few foreclosure every week. You buy like 3-4 foreclosure every week, right?
Yeah.
So
Oklahoma City, we have foreclosure every 2 weeks. So we buy once every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. When it was really, really hot last year, I mean, we were buying 1 to 2 single foreclosure. It slowed down a little bit because now we're buying with the intention to hold. So now you're not, getting that quick cash injection time where you buy it and sell it and you make 20, 30,000 and you get that quick cash to keep buying. But so we see that slow down market, but I mean, we still buy a lot. We see a lot of people are still buying. I think it's now not so much that it's a bad market to buy. It's now you just have to be more creative and your plan for the house. Whatever you're going to do for it. Are you going to keep costs low and that's how you can buy and rent it, or are you going to change your exit strategy? Are you going to do short rentals on it? You know, those kind of things.
What do you see is the most lucrative right now? And what is your current focus right now in your business?
You want to say?
You say it.
Okay. Current focus is on Airbnb experiences. So we think, at least for our market, now it's different for each market and the different regulations wherever you are. Those are their own talk in and of itself. But for us in our market in Oklahoma, we like to focus on the Airbnb experience. We want to make a luxury when someone walks into one of our homes. I don't want it to be like their home. Of course, I want it to be homey. I want it to be nice, but I want it to be a different experience. I want it to be a luxury experience. I want them to go somewhere and feel like, okay, I'm on vacation, and this is my vacation, and this is the place I want to stay at. We focus on, you know, providing high quality amenities. You know, we just try to make an all around great experience.
So with the interest rate, that's why we say we have at least exit strategy. So we have a long game and a short-term rental. So if with higher interest rate, the short-term rentals make more sense because bring in a lot, like triple the rent to a long-term rental. And with that, you can make sure you can continue to buy and sustain your purchasing machine and refinance it, and then you can make more profit with that. Yeah.
And there's also a kind of a not hidden trick, but there is a kind of trick as well. When you're rehab rental, you're getting, let's say, 90%, 85 to 90% of what your ARV would be, of what the max ARV would be. You're only going to get about 85 to 90% because it's a more quality. You're going to kind of a little bit. You're going to use good quality, but not the highest quality material. But then if you Airbnb, you're flipping the house essentially. You're being the top, the best, the highest quality. You're maximizing the usage of that plot of land that you have. And so in that, now you can get the maximum loan from the bank as well. And so then you can use that money to reinvest it as well. So there's kind of a little game that you can play in there as well to kind of maximize the amount of appreciation you're getting, and able to, you know, purchase more and do more, but also keep your cash flow. Where do you usually find deals off market?
Where do you usually find deals off market? And can you share how you analyze the good deals that can work for different asset strategies?
So for off market deals, primarily we get foreclosures. So in Oklahoma County specifically, foreclosure sales happen every 2 weeks. And in the list about a month in advance, you know what the houses are on the list, so you can, you know, everything about the house. You can even go see the house. So you get that right offhand. We also, you know, like any market, you should be tapped into every single investor group, every single wholesaler. You should have everyone, even if you know that they don't give you good deals, you should have them as a contact and know them, because you never know. There could be one deal that they give you that's really good. It makes everything good.
And maybe like us, when we are during the weekend, just drive around and see the neighborhood, and sometimes you see the homeowner around there, the car, talk to them, and you know, like you, they keep you in the next time. If you have a house for sale, they will call you. And we got a lot of people calling us because they like us. There was a gentleman, he's selling the house, and he said, "Oh, son, I got someone offering me 65,000 for that house, but I want to sell you if you offer me 60." So they know us and they want to sell to us, even if it's cheaper.
Because they, you know, at least especially here, I mean, we have a track record. We always close on anything we make an offer on. So with a lot of these other people, you might get an offer and then they back out or they renegotiate the price. But with us, you know, once you get an offer and it's signed by both parties, it's a done deal. We'll find a way to close it, regardless of where it is or what it is or the condition thing. We'll close it.
So it's networking and it's your reputation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a very important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So back to the current focus in your business. you say that are you focusing on things that really can cash flow with Airbnb right now?
Right now, that's our primary focus is things that are not just cash flow, but I want to stand out. I don't want to be, okay, I'm going to fight for $45, $50, $60 a night. I want to go to the next level of, let's do $500, $600, $1,000 a night experience. I want a different audience where we can provide, and then you can come to the house and feel proud. And whenever someone comes to your house, they're like, wow. We've had people walk into the house before and say, wow. And like, I love this. This is amazing. And I really love that feeling, to feel like your work is appreciated. And so I like to focus on that. You can also be artistic. If you, let's say you construction, you don't like numbers, you don't like a people person, but you're an artistic person. I mean, there's a huge market there for you where you can design houses, you can design the furniture. There's so much to do in real estate.
That's awesome, and that's very different from me. I try to move as far away from Airbnb as I can.
Yeah, so that kind of goes with someone, Day's question to you, Walsh. How do you implement that experience at your Airbnb? Yeah, Airbnb can be its own experience in and of itself. Definitely be its own headache, for sure. But at least with each other, we can kind of vent whatever there's something that happens. But usually it's something minor. Usually everything is small matters and it'll pass.
That's why meditations help. So you just breathe in, breathe out, and this person yell at you, like irritate you in Airbnb, all that, but just ignore it. It will pass. In a month later, it won't matter anymore.
And for the people there, you'll get most of the 90% guests are great. They come in, they come out, they leave the place clean. And then sometimes you get the entitled people that want, they want a free, more or less. They just want a free stay. And now we've just gotten to the point, we've built a that we just tell them you can leave. I don't need your $50. I don't need your $100. I don't need however much. I just want my peace of mind. You can leave.
Yeah, in the beginning it's hard because you got to build up all your ratings. Must make sure that your star is 4.8 and above. So when you build up enough 5 stars, and then 1 star or 2 star doesn't matter to your ratings at all.
That's awesome. Yeah, the star is so important in the Airbnb world, right?
Yeah.
And so
we missed one question. Have you guys had any performing properties? One of my issues I'm working on building my confidence to buy to the JV or inside. So that's a very good question. So we have had, well, let's say bad performing properties. I mean, we have projects we've just been sitting on for a year that we haven't done anything. So that's a performing property because it's just us paying more in insurance on a property that's been for now some of 2 years. And then we have had, have you had a bad performing property?
No, when it's before it's made available for rent, consider it's a burden to our portfolio because we gotta pay all the rent, all the mortgage and insurance. But once it become active and we rent it out, I don't think we have anything that performing because they have the tenant, so you already have the guest as empty or long term as a tenant, so bad. But because to avoid the bad performing properties, I think in order to build your confidence, you need to buy it right. Not those properties that we're willing to let them sit for 1 or 2 years because we bought them at a very deeply discounted price and in a very good location, and with the interest that we pay per month compared to the appreciation. So the appreciation really outnumbers the interest that we pay. So we kind of let them sit for a longer time. And what we let them sit for a longer time because we need to make our idea perfect for that house. Really, like we want to have an Airbnb experience, like you say, like we need a good team to do it.
Like we need to, so for example, one of the houses that we've had sitting now for a year and a half is our office. We call it our office. We're growing where we're changing strategies. Originally it was going to be our office, and now changing it to a large home Airbnb experience, and we're thinking of building a pool there. So you can only do that at certain, at properties, certain locations, and you should only invest that kind of money in certain, because it's a $20,000-$30,000 investment just to build. So those are the kind of things we're going for now. And oh yeah, sorry for the cat. Yeah, those are the things we're going for now, and those are the really only underperforming properties because they've been sitting for so long. But as long even a property, okay, even as long as a property on the long-term game zeroes out, because on some of them we have 12-year mortgages, amortized across 12 years instead of a 20 or 30-year mortgage. Even if it has zero cash flow on a long-term investment, we good investment in our eyes, because that's such a strict requirement, and more than half of your payment each month is going back towards your own equity. So those kind of things are okay for us, because we're not required to have that cash flow.
So are you saying that you make money when you buy and
Yeah.
hold?
Yes, we try to, and we don't try. We make money by buying. You make
Buy right.
Yeah, you buy right. You make your money when you
Buy
buy.
right. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So what's the knowledge that you both know now that you didn't know when you're starting out? That's so important, but you didn't know. What's the one thing that you didn't know, like 3-4 years ago when you're starting out, and now you wish that you know?
Hmm. We wrote down some notes, so we're trying to think of.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I know it's a hard question. It's hard to reflect on your journey. It's hard for me to put myself like back 4 years ago when I started out and remember how it was, right? Like for a lot of people who starting out, when we talk to them, sometimes we don't understand where they're at because we forgot,
Yeah.
but we were there as well, right?
So I think the thing that we really didn't think is really important in the beginning of the journey is education. So until today, I think education is really important of the journey. Starting from Nick Tran and go to all our mentors along the journey. It's really important. You can people from different walks of life, and they teach you from different all that. So don't ignore them. Learn a lot from them, because there are some people that not aligned in the subject. Like for example, people want to teach you about, other people teach you about indication and all that. Maybe you want to do that, but I think education, learn about that, get a tool in your pocket, a tool, and where you may need to use it.
Like for example, he's subject. So we've been to a Subject 2 seminars. We traveled to Dallas, Subject 2 from, a master's up, and we spent, a few $1,000. So we spent, a few $1,000s on just Subject 2 training, and a couple of weeks on, and we thought we would never use it. We thought, oh, I want to do Subject 2 deal. I'd rather everything outright and not have to do that. But then here we've already done Subject 2, and
that's considered one of the best performing property.
Yeah, like beyond anything we ever thought before. Just kind of what our mindset about the Airbnb to now switch to Airbnb experience, just doing, fighting with it.
So hop on a call every Monday, 7:30. The US
Yeah.
closed.
What
And that's your education. that you can
Yeah.
add for free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these kind of events, like go to anything he does, go to any, and I'm very resourced, and she's tapped into in the Austin area. I mean, she knows a lot. Definitely leverage.
Leverage other people's knowledge. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so like knowledge, education. Um, would anything change for you in the mindset? Now that you are farther along in your journey?
I think it's just training us to be more patient. Like I say,
Mhm.
like you just need to be just breathe in, breathe out. One day you may have a headache with a lot of people and contractor and things doesn't work out for yourself, but just be patient with them. Like I say, a month or 2 or 3 years later, all doesn't matter anymore.
I think, I mean, that's a very true statement. But we also, I think, be patient on a short-term basis too. Let's say you are wanting to purchase a house, but it's not at the price you want. Let's say it's too high. And we talk about the time, it's your impatience to agree to want to get the house, you're now going to overpay for that. And by overpaying for that one house, now you use your opportunity to buy the next two houses. You overpay for this one, so might lose two chances. So I think it's you have to be patient. You have to just constantly be dedicated into sending out offers. Put in the time to make those and put in that kind of work, and just once you find a good deal, whatever a good deal is for you, because it's different. A good deal for me might be different than a good deal for you, or might be Gavin, or might be different from Sophie. So everyone's idea of a good or bad deal is different. Whatever is a good deal for you, once you find it, ready and pounce on it. But an okay deal or a bad deal, be patient, pass. There's tons of deals out there on the market. You just have to get it.
Or the deal will come back and tell you they lower the price and that become good deal.
Yeah, that happens too. So to answer your question, should people start? I think the best thing to start is it depends on where you are in life too. So if you have a job, or if say you're a realtor, and you have a little bit more free time on your hands, I think short-term rental is a really good place to start there. A little bit more forgiving, especially if you have the time you can spend on it a little bit more. You can do those kind of quick questions on the side. Even if you want to do your own cleaning a little bit, I say for a little bit, it's important to do your own cleaning, maybe for the first couple months at most. But then you need to understand that process and give it out to someone else. So it's important to understand the job you're giving to someone else, so you know the process, you know what they're going to charge for it. You know, I know that this house only costs $40 and it does $150 to clean. So I'm not, you need to understand the of those policies. Yeah.
If you don't have time, then you should something easy.
Yeah,
more
long-term.
passive.
Yeah, you don't have time, wherever you are in life, if you don't have a lot of time, I think long-term, they're very easy to make ready. And then once you put a ring in there, you're pretty set. As long as you put a good ring, but pretty much set, you don't have to touch it much. Most of the rentals, we don't have to do anything, or maybe only a couple. Oh, is our connection okay? Yeah, that's good. I do not recommend flips for just starting out. It's like someone gave a kind of saying for it, that it's like threading a needle while on a rocket or something. Because you need to, coordinate your different contractors, to coordinate the painter and the plumber and the electrician, and then hopefully it doesn't see that you don't have permits pulled, and you have to get the buyer, and then you have to coordinate these things into each other. And if you have a money loan, you have to do it at a certain time, and you have to coordinate all those things. It gets very difficult. I think short-term and long rentals are yeah.
Yeah, I agree on that. Like for new people, people should enter the business and hope to flip to get cash to start. That's like the worst thing you can do because flipping is not easy. It's one of the hardest. And I try so many strategy and it's also nerve wracking.
Mhm.
It's just so much pressure.
Mhm.
That's just discourage you. If something go wrong, it's just gonna discourage you so fast.
Mm.
Yeah. And so Nick and Son, what is we have somebody's talking. Let's see. Okay. I think they mute. So
Mm.
For you right now, like I know that like Sun said that like together with your portfolio, your net worth is also double every single year, right?
Yeah. So I don't know whether I should disclose the absolute number, but like when I first started in US, so now we manage a portfolio of about $1 in asset. So that's how we grow each year.
I didn't hear the number. You're breaking up.
Over $12 million assets.
$4 million, guy. $4 million.
12, 1, 2.
Muy high.
1 to 12.
Yeah.
$12 million in asset under management.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. And that's just in 4 years. So what is next for you guys? What is in the horizon? What is the target that you want to hit in the next year or 2 or 5 years? Like, what is your goal right now? Or you just like enjoy the lifestyle right now? Or is there some destination that you want to get to next?
So I think there's an optimum of door or properties that a person can do and enjoy, because if you get that, it become a headache and too much and unmanageable and don't enjoy life anymore, become a machine in that part of the race. So I want us to get out of the race. So around that number is manageable for us, and else will be a trade-off. So you trade the properties that you for the high class properties, for the easy to manage properties, you can buy back your. For us at this stage, time is more important than keep doing and make money. So you can yes. Hello.
Yeah, I think it's slow down or something.
Oh.
We miss you a little bit.
Okay. To say again, so our kind of goal going forward is just really to enjoy, because at the age we're at, we're kind of around the optimum number for the number of things we can manage. Of course we could do more, but then takes more time away from us. So what we do now is, instead of just increasing the number and just focus on number increasing, we now are trading off properties. So we might trade off a single family home we bought before now into a multifamily unit. So we're increasing the number of doors, but we're now collecting them together. Or we might sell off a group of single family homes, 2 or 3, buy a bigger family somewhere else. It's easier to manage. So we're trying to doing these trade-offs, both in asset class and asset type, is what we're focusing on now. Yeah.
Wow, it sounds like a game that we were playing when we were children, guys. What's the number of the game?
What's the game? What's the name of
What's the name
The
of the game?
Tỷ
Monopoly?
Monopoly. So you have like a few single family and you put them together and you trade for a big building. Okay.
Yeah.
Lynn Tony, he has questions.
Yes, can chị and Anh Sơn hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome, yeah. Thank you, Mỹ, for hosting this, and Angson and Nick. It's so great to see your journey. So I think I have a question, and I hope maybe it will be applicable for everyone as well. So I mean, maybe help us to see the destination a little bit. So putting in a context nowadays, we talk a lot about the financial freedom, and just for hypothesis, like for me, like maybe that I only need like 15K per month passive income. And then with that, like what in the investment strategy will be, and what I mean, like number one, how much capital should be, how long it should be, what kind of like the properties, and like basically instead of only go on my own, if I have a team to work together, like how efficient and maybe faster or more productive. I think maybe it will help us to set the line here. And just think, putting in the context, so many of us maybe we are full-time working in a big corporation, or we're an entrepreneur, so we cannot dedicate a full-time like to manage on our own yet. But I mean, if you chart the path for us to see, like maybe keep focus on 4 or 5 years, and then we good after that, I think it's really motivated just to start this journey. And for me, I personally, I do have some experience and buy a few properties, not like manage too many like you guys, but I do have some exposure here. So would love to hear your sharing on that.
Yeah, that's a good question. And thank you for sharing. So I think so what city are you based in? Because I think that kind of becomes a basis.
Yeah, so I'm based in Philadelphia at the moment, but I think maybe you can just pick Oklahoma, like you already familiar with the market. So I'm good with that. Yeah.
So for the Oklahoma specifically, $15,000 a month would be roughly about 15 free and clear single family home properties that are about 3 bedroom, 1 bath, bedroom, 2 bath, right around there, because you're going to get roughly around let's say $1,200 in rent from those properties, and then you minus out your tax from there. It's free and clear, so you don't have to have insurance you don't want. Put insurance in there if you want. So you have $1,000 cash flow on 15 free and clear properties will give you $15,000 a month. So now we have a number, 15 properties, free and clear. Okay. So with 15 free and clear properties, okay, now let's back it out and let's get the first property. First property? I don't have $100,000. I don't have $200,000 to buy the first property. Who does have that? Maybe my friend, maybe my coworker, maybe the bank. You have a W-2 job. So that W-2 job income, you can now leverage to get a good loan from the bank. So now you can get a 30-year loan at 94% of the value of the home. And you can buy your first property and only down 3 to 6%. And so now you're only putting down $1,000 to buy a $1,000 home. And now you're getting about $100, not quite $1,000 a month in cash flow, but now you're getting $600 a month in cash flow. So you can kind of see that picture. Okay, now I've bought this one property. I'm getting about $600 a month in cash flow. I can now replicate this and do this again and again and again. You just do long-term only, then you can reach that number within just a couple of years of getting 15 properties, or now you're getting $600 instead of $1,000. So then that means you need to get about 24-ish properties. Get that within a couple of years of just family home rentals, pretty much free. Or not stress-free, but like pretty, there's a path. There's a pretty clear defined path. It just depends on how quickly you want to reach that end as well. We have some friends that are in this exact strategy. He has a full-time working W-2 job, and then his wife is a realtor, and then they properties on the side long-term, and they just, buy 1 or 2 a year, and they just chug that way, and they can easily reach the goal to retire within 5 years just by doing.
Also in real estate, I think if you want to grow faster, you don't just throw the money there and you can get all the profit. You got to put in your work into it. So like Nick said, you buy 100,000 home, but the house worth 100,000 if you don't do anything. It's put in the work in there, do a in it, make it nicer, and it worth 200,000 So now you build in the house, and you can bring the house to the bank and refinance it. Now you have an 200 worth of home, and then you cash out that money in the next home.
That's very true too. You can increase your ARV, refinance the house, you said, and now let's say 90% ARV on a $1,000 house. You originally bought $180,000. Let's say you put in 40,000. Let's say it need a little bit of work, 40,000. And you're pulling out 40,000 you can use to purchase the next home. So yeah.
I think yeah, I think it's wonderful. The signal is kind of like a little bit like jumping up and down a little bit, and I try to match my map here. But just want to make sure. So basically, you think we build like 15 properties, and the average for them is around like maybe 100K, right? In Oklahoma, would get a rent like each month around $1,200 per month.
Yes.
That's correct. Okay, cool, gotcha. But I mean, but basically for me, it still seems a lot of work. I mean, just to do on my own. So like, it's just like basically like you guys have a fund and put money in, and like you guys have to manage that, and then that's gonna make life easier. So would love to hear more faster. Yeah, with the team.
Lynn, if you want to learn more about like real passive, you need to watch the first episode or the second episode of this webinar I have on my website and on my Facebook, YouTube. So the first one, they talk about syndication, where you can put money in, and basically what you're looking for is 180K a year, right?
Yeah.
Like 12 months of 15K a month. So in order to reach that, in syndication, you need to put 180K in each year for the next 5 years. And you're done, because the money come back double in 5 years, and then you still have the principal to reinvest, and then you can live on the 180K that come back. So that's a very simple math for syndication. So it's usually 5 years and it's double in 5 years. Like I have friends that have way better performance. They double their money almost like 3 years in the presentation that you can watch. But our average is 5 years. So if you really just passive, every year you should keep investing in syndication, and that money will come back in like 3 to 5 years, double. Right? And if you have a business that lucrative, you just set aside that money, forget about it. In 5 years, you look back, you don't have to do anything. It should keep growing. The second webinar is about private lending, where we talk about like you can lend on a specific property, just like Nick and Son, they borrow money to do their deals because they are very active. So I lend money to Nick and Son before, right? They lend money to me as well, because when I have money in my IRA, Roth IRA, even I'm active in real estate, I cannot invest in whatever I'm doing, right? So I invest somewhere else, which I lend out to them, and they give me a decent interest of 10, 12%. And I'm the first lien on the property. But if you are the second lien on the property right now, you can get like up to 14% or 16%. But you can do this, and you can have a lot of this, and it's like short-term syndication. You lock in for like 5 years, but you can get to like 20%. But the private lending is also very passive. It's just like with anything, you know how to get in, you have to know how to get out. So if they are in trouble, they're not paying you, you know how to foreclose on them, you know, on the law around it, and you have a team that help you with that, right? And you educate yourself. But those two are very passive and very good as well.
Thank you, chị Mỹ and anh Sơn and Nick. I appreciate a lot. I will not make sure I'll like listening to all this again, but I want to save the time for all the questions too. So thank you both.
Those are good questions. Yeah.
Sure, that's awesome. Yeah. So
to answer your question, Gavin, we self-managed, with the exception of 15 doors, which we a transition. So those are the transition homes, and those have a very high turnover rate. There's 15 residents that go in and out of those homes, and they are on a weekly basis. So we let this lady handle all the property management for those 15 because she already has the network in place. She knows where to find them and all of that. We now have the network in order to do it ourselves, but we kind of leave it in place for now because it's more hands off in a sense. She handles finding the residents, putting them in, and all of that. But everything else we manage, the Airbnbs, long term, everything.
Yeah, but
So
if you just first started, I think you should manage by yourself. So
Yeah.
you know the whole process by yourself. If you
Okay.
just started and you use a property manager, you don't know anything.
And they also take your whole cash flow. All of it's
Mm.
gone.
Mhm.
I have another question. So for you guys, like your portfolio is great right now, right? You you just kind of like trade off now, like trade up, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yep.
trade up right now and just keep flowing like that, right?
Mhm.
Do you have like a since you manage your property so well and you get a system down, do you want to make a business out of it, like have a management company to manage properties for other people?
So far, I think no. Like I don't mind managing our own properties, but I don't think I would want to manage someone else's properties. We'll see. Let's check back in a couple of years and let's see. Maybe I
Gotcha.
can, but right now we have so much on our plate to deal with that I want to keep it in-house and I want to manage just our own. But maybe in a few years, once we finish up all of our projects, and we have more free time, or maybe we might hire someone also in the future. So maybe that will be something we could do in the future.
Awesome.
But I have to get my broker license first in order to do that. So I have to reach that step.
Yeah. Charles, can you ask us like on the video?
Of course.
We just like to see you.
Stressful.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah. Can you tell us a story of the most stressful moment in your real estate journey, and then how you guys like managed to overcome?
What would be the most stressful?
So I think stressful. We have a lot of deals, and we always come up with deals around us. So I think the stressful situation for us is where to find the money to fund all these deals that we think, oh, this is good deal, and we have to get them because it's so good. So so the stories is when we come across a 14 unit apartment complex.
Yeah,
I think
stressful.
yeah, that is one
That
of the
was
most
very
stressful moments of our life.
Wait, you were in Austin?
Yeah, when we
Yes.
were in Austin. So that was before we
That
were
was before.
we were driving on the way to Austin to visit Sophie, and I saw on Facebook a guy selling this before we
It
drove.
was the day before.
Yeah, so selling 14 unit for $600,000, 14 unit apartment complex.
Amazing price.
So that's Oklahoma City 2 years ago. We got it in 2021. So we arrived that day on the day to Austin, and we came to see the apartment and check everything. And so, the house is the whole apartment is very solid. So we drove to Austin, and during the drive, I sent him an offer. I sent him $1,000 full price. So we arrived in Austin, and then the guy called me and say, "No, accept you. We got another offer that is $620,000." And then I told Sophie, we lost the deal because someone offered 20,000 more than us.
We all just sat down and got coffee. It was all four of us
Yeah.
together.
And then Sophie said, call him back, offer him
Any
700.
number.
Offer him any number, 700,000. And I said, no, 700,000 too much. I call him back and I said, how about I offer you 5,000 above the highest offer price, which is 625,000. I said, we haven't signed a contract, but I have a partner. Let me talk to him. He got to kill me after this. So he talked to the partner and then they agreed, can you sign a contract now? We can accept 625,000. So on that day, we signed a contract immediately, 625,000 shop on a contract. And I said, now the next thing, how to find 600,000 in 3 days?
That was the biggest deal.
Was the biggest deal we had to do at that time.
At that point, the biggest deal I think we've done was like
200,000-300,000 because
no,
we
not
keep buying
300,
homes.
like under 100.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest deal was 35th, which was 180.
Mhm.
Southwest
Yeah.
35th was 100 and something thousand.
Yeah. So
130.
1 to 200,000 only.
Yeah.
So we arrived. We came. So we arrived from Austin back to Oklahoma, and then we met up with a bank, and we said we got this deal on the table, and he doesn't believe on it because that area is still in an emerging area. It's not a high prime location yet. So we said, how about we can refinance a few other stuff, bundle together, and then you lend us at least. So he's fine. Normally he will finance 75% of all the deals to us, but on this deal he said he will finance 65 to 65%.
Somewhere in there. I don't know.
65% only, and we have to come up with 35% of 625,000, which is like over
It was like 200,
200,000, around 200,000. You have to come up with it. And I say, look at my portfolio. We have to build this much. Can you bundle that and then lend us the remaining %? He did that for us. So eventually he financed 75%. So now we have to come up with 25% of the 625,000. So we look around friends and relative and all that. And so one of them, she lent us 70,000 on that with the interest rate of 12% a year. And on the inspection day, well,
the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time 625,000. So the inspection day we come up and we talk to the seller and we say, hey, this house it costs this much to renovate and we have to change the HVAC and roof and all that. So can you give me a discount of 10,000? He said, no, your offer is 25,000, 625,000, 5,000 above the high offer. I can only give you maximum of 8,000, 7,000. So now the final price is 618,000.
Yeah.
So we come to the closing with that price lower than the high offer at that time.
But then it was that whole time was stressful, not just on the finding the money part, but it was also stressful on because this was our first apartment deal. This was before we were in the Sunrock group when we paid for that training and we knew about these, we didn't leverage all the education we had around us at that point. We were just starting and we didn't know. So normally you ask for like the T12 and the T6 and performer rent, and you ask for all of these things. And we had no idea. We just analyzed it like we did any other property, which is
like a single home. So we
home.
analyze all the rents together minus the property management and expenses and whether we can make money. So the rent at that time is $600 per unit. So the total rent that they're selling to us at around $9,700.
That was their pro forma rent.
Yeah.
We didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
It was their pro forma rent was $8,700 something
Yeah.
dollars. But then, after we closed and everything, we're trying to find out, okay, this person's paying only $100. This person's paying $127. And we're piecing all this information together, and the leases paint one story. The leases paint, they are collecting $1,000 in rent. The tenants are painting another story. We're only collecting $6,000 in rent, and then they're saying, we're collecting almost $9,000 in rent. So we're in these three different stories.
So the short story is that we bought it at $8,700 rent in total, and we increased the rent to $100 per unit. So now our total rent is about $12,000 a month, and that property we bought it at $620 620,000. Now it's worth about $1.2 million within 2 years.
So
So
who
very
wants to earn
stressful, but it will
600K
reward.
in this situation? 2 years, 600K in equity,
Yeah.
and it's pretty stressful, guys.
It's stressful, but it's rewarding. That's why we say like you need to get out of your comfort zone and being very comfortable with being uncomfortable, so you can find a way, get out of that.
Because
When-
you make it work.
Yeah, you make it work. When you're uncomfortable, you make it work. You find a way to get.
I wanna ask like Trúc Lan or like Jolene or Cương, like, do you guys have any other question? Like Mun, do you have any question for Sun and Nick? Last call.
Sorry, can you show your face? Because I just checked my Facebook friends connection. I don't see any face. I don't know who who sent me a friend request. So maybe it's not familiar, so I can accept it. Hi. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Oh. You're muted.
You're
We can't
muted.
hear. You're muted.
Who is this? Okay. Let me unmute.
Yes, today talk is
okay.
pretty impressive. Yes, today talk is
Okay.
pretty impressive.
I think you're in two devices. I think you're in
At least you know impressive 3 times, so good
It's
job.
very impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for let me join the chat today. So that's all for me.
You're welcome. Yeah.
You're very welcome. Anyone else? Cương, anh Cương, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any question because it's new for me and I have some money to invest, but I don't know how to start it. And thank you, Son and Nick, very awesome. And thank you for your time as well. Appreciate. I will have a lot of questions to ask you later.
Sure. Feel free to reach out anytime.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sophie, as well.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Yeah.
All right. Chi, any question? Tahe, Gavin, Jolene, Man. I think we all good, yeah? Oh, so Dahe asked like, can I be your private money lender?
Private
Oh,
money
private
lender.
money. Oh,
Private money lender. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. They always need money. They have a lot of deals. So in this business, you should either have money or deals.
Mm.
And even when you have a lot of money, deals are more than money.
Yeah, there's always
Deals are
more
more than money, and you won't be able to buy them all.
Oh, Dahe asked, how can I follow you guys?
We have Facebook. Yeah, we have Facebook and Instagram. So
yeah,
we can.
connect to Son Facebook. That's where I don't use Facebook, so you have to ping him.
I think on the meeting you have the tag of our names in there, so you can add friends
Yes.
to the Facebook.
And Gavin have another question.
Hi. Yeah, just one more quick question. I guess, let's say we're out of state and we're considering investing in a market like OKC. Do you think we can find properties that will flow from day one, or do you think it's more realistic that we'll have to find something that, will require some value add, and then after a few months it might cash flow? But what are your thoughts there?
That's a good question. So we prefer to buy value add properties because that's where you'll get the most cash flow. That's what we prefer because we can control the cost. If you're buying it already made, you're already eating into your equity and your cash flow already. But we have bought properties that do cash flow at purchase. So that is possible. You can look for that, but generally your cash flow is more compressed at that point. It's going to be smaller. We prefer to buy the value add ones.
That's a good insight. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Like, so you guys let people know where to find you, where to, you know, ask question, and you guys can see Nick and Son in Oklahoma City, and also they visit New York City and Austin quite often too. So hopefully we can have a little meetup when Nick and Son in Austin. Thank you so much. I think Nick and Son frozen. They yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. I'm gonna end the meeting and see you next week. I'm gonna bring another speaker next week, and please please just ask any question, anything. If I don't know, I'll direct you to somewhere else, like people like Nick and Son, that they happy to help. It's again about educate ourselves, right? Okay, good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Everyone.